Hello, Hero of Collectors here. How's it going, everybody? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. I know I am, and today we're going to be doing a quick review on the Jakks Pacific Sonic and Shadow from the all-new Sonic 3 movie line of figures. If you want to see me unbox these figures, there should be a video. I'll try to put a card right about here. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into talking about these figures. I will go over the articulation, and I'll give you my thoughts and what I think of them. So let's get into it. Alright, getting into these figures, I'm going to kind of talk about them both at the same time, and I'll give them both the same rating towards the end. But I was very hesitant to go in on this line. I collected the 4-inch Sonic 2 movie figures when they came out. I had a lot of fun with those because they were just simple, cheap figures that represented the Sonic movies that I thought were a blast. You know, they're such a good time and have cheap, little fun representations of those characters is cool. You know, I'm happy to have those for a collection. And my main worries about these new figures is the world building. You know, were we going to get a Supersonic, a Knuckles? You know, should I jump into this line? What should I do? And I kind of debated with myself. I kind of knew I would eventually cave and get these new figures. I saw them in hand, thought they looked cool, and then the second time I actually saw them in store, I caved. I bought this Sonic and this Shadow. And if you go to my actual unboxing video, you'll slowly see how these figures win me over. They are a blast. Absolutely fun. They look good. Like, is it 100% movie detailed? No. Like, it's a $13, $14 line. You're not going to have a bunch of paint detail. But what paint that is there is really good. Maybe you have to sift through a few of the figures in the actual pegs, or on the actual pegs, I should say, just to find that perfect one. But even if there are paint blemishes, it's not serious. Like, I saw some that it was just a small scuff towards the mouth, and that's it. But these figures, although they're only 1 inch taller than the previous ones, they up them in such incredible ways, like the eyes, the new effect that Jakks has been doing with the figures, like from the Super Mario movie. They do like this glassy effect with the eyes, and I know it's super simple to do. It's just like a printed eye and then a clear plastic over it, and it just kind of gives that like realistic eye look. But it just works so well here, especially for, you know, it's supposed to represent a CGI character in a live action movie that's also based on a video game or cartoon design. You know, it's translated really well into action figure form and kind of gives us a bit more of a realistic feel if you're going to put these in, say, a movie display. And the articulation has been upped. Like, it was very simple joints before. There was not nearly as much range. Yeah, you could still get some personality going on, but these have personality out the wazoo. Like, with the added butterflies and the wrist joints and the finger joints, biceps, you know, you get a thigh cut, abdomen cut, you know, ankle pivot, all that stuff combined, it just brings together a really posable, cheaper Sonic figure. And to go back to the sculpt, while yes, it's not like super movie accurate, you do get fur sculpt all over. The shoes are sculpted really nicely. They even have treads. You know, Sonic in particular has translucent quills built into his sculpt that look really good. Like, it's on the back of his head only, but it just kind of adds a little bit something extra. And for Shadow, he's got like the extra tuft of fur that could have just been painted, but they decided to actually sculpt that. He's got like not super detailed, but more detailed shoes than Sonic does, and extra paint work. Is it all perfect? No. And I'm not expecting it to be. It's a $13, $14 line. But again, when it all comes together, it comes together really well. Now, I've been gushing about these figures for the past several minutes. Let's talk about the faults. For the Sonic figure, the neck articulation isn't as good. Shadow can get a decent range. He's able to look up and down a bit more and get some tilting in there. Sonic can do some of that, but not to the range I would want. The waist swivels are nice, but they don't give as much as I would hope. I think it's meant to be a ball joint to where you could potentially get some crunch out of that, but you really don't. So maybe if I'm nitpicking, I would hope that that would be improved a little bit more, but it's still decent. And those faults, and maybe some of the paint defects are a good fault to mention, because yes, you can get some paint defects. This is a kid's line. It's not like a collector's line. You're not going to get the extra detail that you would get from, say, a Marvel Legend or a Studio Series Transformers figure. They made sure the paint was there. I don't know if they made sure it was 100% within the lines, and then they put it in a box and shipped it type deal. You're not going to get 100% QC all the time. And I will say, just to gush about these a little bit more now that we've got the bad out of the way, they are very sturdy. Yes, they can be top heavy, but they are less top heavy than the 4-inch figures were. They can actually hold themselves with the feet, posed up. Yes, the heads do add a lot of weight, but it's a lot easier to counter the weight with the arms and the legs and the extra articulation. It all comes together really nicely. The only times these have fallen over is when I bumped them while getting another figure or an accessory or something. They've never really fallen once I've had them posed or stood somewhere. So that is a big plus for me. So with all of that being said, I'm going to give these together an 8.5 out of 10. While they're not a traditional scale, like they're not going to scale with a lot of your 1/12 figures, they may scale with like 1/6 or maybe 1/8. I'm not 100% sure. Probably not 1/6, probably more 1/8. They are incredibly fun and make up for any, imperfections or problems that you may have with them. Even if you are unsure about the line, it's $13-14 just to buy one and just see if you like it. And I don't think that's a bad deal at all. The Simpsons line is something that Jakks is also doing, and those are decent representations of those cartoon characters. These feel like action figure toys. So the value is a lot better there. And I would say my one last bad thing about these figures is they don't come with any accessories. Just maybe some Chaos Emeralds, maybe a chili dog, just to add a little flair to them. But I'm not super disappointed because I still feel like I'm getting a good value with what I bought. So now, to close out this video, I'm going to be doing a brand new segment that I will continue to do for all my future reviews on this channel. So I will cut back to live action me and close out this video. Alright, to close out this video, we're going to do it with a new segment that I'm going to do with all my future reviews is, does it have fun factor? What is fun factor, you might be asking? Well, fun factor is the kind of indescribable, and yeah, I'm going to still try to describe it, feeling you get when a figure is just naturally easy to pose and have fun with. It's just something a figure has or doesn't have. These in particular, when I unboxed them, they just had a natural kind of way to pose them, and it just always immediately was fun and looked good. Like, it wasn't super difficult to do. You could get the pose naturally, and it just had that feeling like, boom, that's already an intimidating stance. So, does it have fun factor? I think both of these have fun factor. I think they have fun factor out the wazoo, because I'm sold on this whole line just by buying these two. Like, they hadn't even announced Wave 2 when I first bought these, and I decided to get them even when I want other characters in this line and they hadn't been announced. So it figures this good can convince me to be okay with potentially not getting others. That's gotta have fun factor. And look, 2 seconds, or I don't even know how long that took me. Already just a fun looking pose for a figure. So yes, these do have fun factor. And this is just going to be a segment I start to do with all my future reviews just for fun. I want to have some kind of gimmick, and that's the gimmick I decided to come up with. It's fun factor. It's what we're looking for when we're posing action figures. We want to have that fun, that enjoyment. That's what this hobby's about, is enjoying these toys that we buy. So I don't know. If you guys like this, I will continue to do it, but if you do not, please let me know. I just think it'd be a fun thing to do to, add to my reviews. But with all of that, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, go and comment. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will talk to you all in another video, another post, another time.